I'm going less again.
You're going less on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Folks, welcome back. NFL season. I'm Connor Rowntree. Special guest today. We got Jim Coventry from RotoWire. Jim, football's back, baby. How we doing today? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I cannot wait. We have been ramping up for months, getting ready just for this day. And the poor Buffalo Bills, imagine what their weight's been like since that devastating loss to the Chiefs, chomping at the bit. The Rams come in a little bit happy, coming off that big Super Bowl win. But it's going to be interesting because Von Miller's on the other sideline.
Yeah, well, you said it, right? The matchup, you got the defending Super Bowl champions versus the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl this season. It's going to be fireworks all night. And I think that's just, well, why don't we just get into it? Because it's such a stacked matchup all the way through. And this is one of those games where, as an analyst, and we're going to be talking about, it's fun to talk about. Last time these two teams met, 67 combined points. We're doing a prop show. You know, we got the more or less contest coming up later in the show. Man, this is just one of those times where, you said Christmas before. It's pretty darn close.
It totally is. I mean, look at get this game, as you're saying, the Bills, the public favorite, but they're plus 550 to win the Super Bowl. They are the favorites, right? The Rams are plus 1,200 as defending champs. So yes, people are on the Bills all season and tonight. We already mentioned Von Miller, a little change of power there. And you know, the Rams, not really a crazy home crowd. I remember that 49ers game. There were more 49ers fans than Rams fans. Like we said earlier, the Bills ticked about last year. Rams, a little transition, new right guard, no Andrew Whitworth. Man, it's going to be something to see these teams unveiled.
Yeah, one thing to note that I think is absolutely hilarious. You mentioned how the Bills are kind of becoming North America's team, and I'm based in Canada, and I'm based in Toronto, so I'm about an hour north of Buffalo. We are getting the weather reports from Los Angeles in Toronto for Bills fans traveling to the game from Toronto. That's not a joke. I literally turned on the weather today, CP24, that's our 24 hours news. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're planning on heading to LA, pack some shorts. It's hot. I was like, what are you, nuts? We're in Toronto. Like, what?
Oh my gosh. Well, that is insane, but it's great. It's great. It just shows the expanse of the NFL and how everybody thinks people need to know stuff they don't need to know.
Well, let's jump right into it now. Quarterback more or less contest. Right now, Josh Allen coming in. His line at 274.5 yards. Matt Stafford at 270.5. And now I alluded to something earlier that these two teams combined for 67 points. And that doesn't happen if your quarterbacks, gunslinging quarterbacks, mind you, aren't putting up yards. Folks, the Bills, they're depleted right now at defensive back. And I guarantee this. Sean McVay, he's been scheming for that. He knows that. He's got a new toy in the stable named Allen Robinson. You got Higbee. You got Cooper Kupp. I'm going to take the more and more on the. I think this is going to be a good old-fashioned Western shootout to kick off the NFL season. I'm going more and more on the quarterbacks.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be the bad person on this show who's going to go the other way. It looks
perfect.
Too good to
Love
be true. Looks too
Lay
good
it
to be
on
true. Yes. So this is odd. Josh Allen in 8 of his last 11 games threw for fewer than 265 yards, and that had a lot of easier opponents. I think Jalen Ramsey, he seems to be well from his surgery on his shoulder, seems ready to go. So look, he's going to be all over Stephon Diggs. I think Josh Allen's going to run more than he normally has to. Gabe Davis is going to get his, but who else? You know, Isaiah McKenzie, that might be running. That might be little, inside handoffs and things like that. So I think Allen's going to run for quite a bit, but I think with Diggs getting suppressed a bit, I don't know that he hits that 274. And then Stafford, think about this. Down the stretch last year when they had to win for playoff seeding, he was 244 or fewer yards in 3 of his last 4 games. And I think Sean McVay really wants a balanced attack. I think he wants to use Cam Akers. And we know Sean McDermott, the coach of the Bills, is more than happy to give up the run game. He's about stopping the pass. And if Akers can get going at all, I think there's going to be, like you said, good shots to Kupp and Robinson, but I think it's going to be coming off of play action in the run game. I'm going under on both.
Wow, going with the less and less.
Yes.
See, I guess, you know what? Football's back. Just drafted a fantasy team. I'm feeling hot. I'm coming in hot. I'm sticking with the more and more. I love it. A little controversy here on MKF on a Thursday to kick it off, folks. But Cooper Kupp, the receivers, something that I want to note, he had 145 receptions last season, almost 2,000 yards, and he had 100 more targets than the next closest player on the Rams. When I heard that stat and I went and looked it up and I saw that, that blew my mind. Anything on Cooper Kupp, I have to just take more on. Like last season, breakout, he's a superstar. And as I said before, there's the defensive backcourt of Buffalo is a little banged up right now. I like Cooper Kupp. I like the more on that.
And it's a great bet. I mean, look at 20 games last year, including the playoffs. He only went under that 93.5 number. He was only less on 4 occasions, 16 out of 20. I'm not a math guy, but that's 80%. But I go back to my point. I think there's going to be a balanced attack. And remember the Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, that was Odell Beckham's game until he tore his ACL. Kupp was not getting a lot of targets. The game got out of control. And if you look at the last 3 games of last season before the playoffs, Kupp started to see a reduced workload in the passing game. And I think that with Allen Robinson in and no Tre'Davious White for the Bills, I think Allen Robinson is an X receiver. They have nobody to match up with him. And I think that that's going to be a mismatch. They're going to pound when they're not running. Kupp's going to get plenty of opportunity. But I think this is going to be about establishing Robinson. Kupp's going to give good yardage. I'm going less again.
You're going less on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Wow, man. You just said the math. 80%
Yes.
of games last season.
Yes. But that's Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
Super Bowl.
Cooper Kupp makes plays. I just, the way they use him as a screen, if he breaks just one of those screen passes off, he gets half of his yards right there. But you just mentioned Allen Robinson, and that's interesting because his reception line on MKF is 4.5, more or less than 4.5 receptions. And I kind of, when I was looking at this, it's like, okay, the Bills are going to cover Cooper Kupp. They're going to try and lock him down based off the progression that he showed last season. Allen Robinson, he was in Chicago last year, franchise tag, didn't want to be there, couldn't figure out a contract, kind of got pushed aside in their offense for Darnell Mooney. And now, 64.5 yards. I like him to get close to that, but I don't see the 5 receptions. I see a couple deep shots to Allen Robinson, possibly a tutty. I'm feeling more of a big touchdown kind of performance from Allen Robinson than a consistent receiver, just based off what I'm seeing from the Bills defense. And I think those deep shots, as you said, that the DB core, they're banged up. I think those deep shots will be there. I'm going to take less on the reception line of 4.5, but I'll take more on the receiving yards because I think the deep shots will be there.
So I'm going to go with you on the over on the yardage. I do like that as well. Now with the receptions, we're just kind of one of these days we're not in lockstep today, but maybe that's a good thing. So I mentioned earlier, Robin's going to be their X receiver. He's going to be isolated on one side of the field, and Cooper Kupp will be on the tight end side of the field. And so they're not going to be able to bracket Robinson because Kupp's on the other side. They're going to want to predominantly sack up there. So Kupp's going to see a lot of single coverage. And Matthew Stafford is that guy. He will pull the trigger, and Robinson, one of the better contested catch receivers in the game. And I think they're one of a lot of these big routes where he moves up the field and he cuts back in, and they're just going to eat all day. So I get it why you like less. I think he goes 7 catches in this game because they're not going to be able to stop going to him. It's going to be candy for them.
I absolutely love that look. And then something to note then, if Jim's liking that 7 catches, Robinson's line, our guy Brian Budd is on this. His fantasy line on MKF is 13.5 points. MKF counts for PPR. 7 receptions, 7 points. I think he's getting a touchdown. 6 points. Boom. There's your 13. That's not to mention any yards in there that he will accumulate through catching a football. Man, Allen Robinson, I think that's a spicy look. And then I'll give you the floor here, Jim, for Cam Akers, because you kind of alluded to it. What I think a lot of people are sleeping on were his numbers last season, and they're ignoring what he did in the postseason. He really took over that Rams offense. And Jim, I'll let you take over now because you seem pretty high on Cam Akers.
I do. We don't know how much explosiveness is back. We know he wasn't explosive coming back, but they gave him carries. he wasn't obviously better himself, but he's got 8 months since then. My guess is he's got a significant amount of it back. And I know there's talk about Darrell Henderson, but every other comment McVay makes is how they can't keep him on the field. So I believe that Cam Akers is the bell cow here. We've known for years that Sean McDermott's defenses, they are concerned with the pass game. They're going to play nickel as their base. They're going to have an extra defensive back on the field, which means there's going to be room to run. Cam Akers is a powerful inside runner. And I expect his Achilles to be well enough. So I think he's going to get 18 to 20 carries here. And I think he sails past the 48.5 yards again, assuming the recovery is where it should be.
Yeah, I was just, even if he doesn't get the 18 to 12 carries, I think with the explosions that I was able to see after the injury in the postseason, I think he can break one or two off. I know Von Miller's on that defensive front now, but once you get by Von Miller, as you said, Milano's more of a pass coverage inside linebacker. So I really like that Akers line. I like the Moore there. I'm riding that with you. And then this one, well, Stephon Diggs for just 6 receptions. I'm taking the Moore. I'm taking that to the bank. Maybe I shouldn't just say 6. He's going to go out and get 1 now, and this is going to be a TikTok. I'm going to look like an idiot all season, but I'll take that chance. Stephon Diggs Moore. Let's go.
And again, very hard to argue Stephon Diggs is the centerpiece of that offense. Jalen Ramsey travels. And again, he's had the shoulder injury, but he's apparently back. He is going to follow Diggs wherever he's at. He'll go in the slot. That's one thing about beauty with Ramsey. He's one of the corners. He'll go wherever. They're not going to put him on Gabe Davis. He's going to be on Diggs. And so that complicates it. And it's a matter of how much Josh Allen wants to fight against Ramsey. And if he wants to put the ball in a real tight spot and risk tip ball interception, that can be problematic. So I'm a little bit nervous on Diggs. It's hard for me to say I'm going more, but I also don't want to go less because I know what Diggs can do. The yardage number on Lucky Night Fight is 69.5 yards for him. And for that number, Ramsey showed us here, you could beat him deep. So if they run a double move play and Diggs gets it, he hits the yardage. But if they don't go deep on him, Diggs won't hit that yardage, so those 69.5. So I am going less. I don't know if they're going to run a double move. It's a tough call.
I'm going to like the way that Diggs is built into that offense. I like it because of the fact he does those wide receiver screens, those flanker screens, jumps off the line, gets behind those tight ends. And that's a guaranteed catch right there behind the line. Jalen Ramsey covering him or not, I could see at least 2 screen passes going to him. And then Josh Allen, he's going to take his shots downfield. He's a gunslinger. Stephon Diggs, I got to take the Moore. I respect Jalen Ramsey. I respect Jim. I respect the opinion, but got to ride with the Moore on that one. Any other lines, Jim, on MKF that you were looking for tonight for the season opener? Holy smokes, am I excited.
Oh my gosh, are we ever excited? I love Gabe Davis over 12.5 fantasy points. You mentioned Allen Robinson over 13.5. I think they're both money. We already talked about A-Rob, so let's talk about Davis for a bit. Again, Diggs is probably going to get shadowed by Ramsey. That leaves 5'11", 180 Troy Bell and 5'11", 196 on 6'2", 210 Gabe Davis. That is going to be a mismatch. Josh Allen is not going to be able to look away from that. Davis is good in contested catches. He's good in the red zone, so he sails over that. And touchdown dance, Connor. Akers.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes, can we do this? Let's do this dance.
Let's do it. We got to do a tutty dance. Got to do a TD dance to close out the show. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Yes. All right, who's your tutty dance? I got mine lined up. Let's hear what you got.
I hope we're the same on this. Cam Akers, number 1. Get a pound one in from the inside. Allen Robinson, first game with the team. I know that Matthew Stafford was doing the same with Odell Beckham, getting him ready and used to the team. And Gabe Davis with that huge size advantage. They're not the common names, but I think they're all going to walk in the end zone. Who do you like?
See, I'm going to actually trade out Gabe Davis and put in Dawson Knox near the goal line. I like the big man. He got the touchdown looks last season, and man, it wasn't just him. The other tight ends get looks on Buffalo. Josh Allen likes the big bodies down low. Any sort of rub plays, screen plays. I like it. I like it a lot. Dawson Knox in the red zone. And thank you, Brian. Knox got paid yesterday as well. Coming in, feeling good. Let's see the money. Let's see the Johnny Manziel let's get paid, except, actually translate it on the field and become a professional football player. No offense, Johnny. Love you.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. So yeah, I like your touchdown dance. The trade up for Dawson Knox is very solid. I think either way, we're going to cash a winner one way or the other.
Yeah, no, and back to the Cam Akers. Yep, I love that. Buffalo, as I said before, the middle linebacking play. Milano, more great in the pass coverage. He can get beat in the run, so I like that. And then Allen Robinson, I think we've said it touchdown multiple times when we were just talking about his line. The deep shot's going to be there. And yeah, new guy, new in town. It's going to be an exciting night. Jim, final predictions for the game itself.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be the lamest prediction of all. Whoever has the ball last wins, which is why I can't take the -2. But here's what I'll say. I think the Rams are going to run well enough to shorten the game. And it's going to go under 51.5. But again, whoever has the ball last wins. I'm just going to enjoy this one. I'm not going to get so invested that I need someone to win. I want to have fun tonight.
Yeah, no, I do too. And actually, I'm gonna go with the over 51.5. I think the 52 points, they combined for 67 last time they played each other. Both these teams are just so explosive. And I believe Josh Allen in week 1's averages 36 points per game on offense through his first couple of seasons. It's either him or Pat Mahomes. Either way, explosive quarterback play. I'm so excited. Jim, let the people know where they can find you and follow all this amazing content.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at Jim Coventry NFL. You can find me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Channel on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, we're on 1 to 3 on the RotoWire show. Sundays will be on 9 to 10 Eastern, of course, all Eastern times, and they'll be on XM. And we also do a RotoWire live stream, start sit, on our YouTube and Twitter pages on Sunday morning, 2 hours before kickoff.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining the show today. Monkey Knife Fight NFL opening kickoff preview show. Jim, we did it. Well, folks, we'll see you next time. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. Show's over. Enjoy the game.